amount of that. So, when I say Jamie Lee Curtis, what do you think of? Classic horror films? Cult classics like Trading Places or True Lies? Disney flicks like Freaky Friday, perhaps? Actress, author, activist, what comes to mind? How many of you, and be honest, thought Yiddishkeit? If your first thought wasn't Jewish, you're not alone. But Jamie Lee Curtis was in the news recently for doing the most Jewy of Jewish deeds. In memory of her father, Tony Curtis, born Bernard Schwartz, and his parents, her grandparents, Helen and Emanuel Schwartz, who are Hungarian Jews, she is restoring a synagogue in their hometown of Matizauska, Hungary. The town's story is a tragic one. The entire Jewish population there was exterminated. But as she continued and quoted, the building, she said, stands as a living tribute to those who lived there. A living tribute. What does it mean to be a living tribute? Jamie Lee Curtis could have done anything to honor her father and grandparents, but she chose to raise the funds to restore a dilapidated synagogue in Eastern Europe. Why? On the surface, it doesn't make much sense. The shul stands in a town where Jews, by and large, no longer live. Her father, Tony Curtis, was not exactly observant. So why a shul? Perhaps not because of the bricks and stones, but because of the values that place represents, how it shaped her grandparents' lives and through them, hers. I was struck by a photo accompanying the articles showing the front of that synagogue in Hungary. Emblazoned over the door are the words, Va'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham. Make for me a sanctuary, and I will dwell among you, or in you. That's true, not just with buildings, but with blessings. Not just with God, but with those we remember today. We make intentional space for their memories to enter among us, in us, as we are doing right now. Because while most of us will not restore Eastern European shuls, all of us today are engaged in the same sacred act to restore what is no more, to bring the life and legacy of those we loved back into this world with our deeds. How do we do that? We can't be them any more than Jamie Lee Curtis can fill a newly refurbished shul building with the same joyful congregation whose prayers once rang out together with her grandparents. A world is lost. But we can lift up their Ner Tamid, their eternal light, and we can place it back on high. We can take their values, their voice in our ear that quips with an old saying or a joke that makes us smile. We can hear in our hearts their nudge an encouragement that only they could give. And we have a choice of what to bring back. When you are rebuilding, you have decisions to make. Will we bring back that old uncomfortable pew, the way that we sometimes strained or sweated in their presence? Or will we select some new seating for a new stage? As our prayers teach us, each of us is the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not just the latest link in a legacy, but if Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are each mentioned, it is because they each had their own way. They took from each other and they made the lessons their own. And so too, we are not just a link in the chain, but a manifestation in our own right. To be a living tribute means to take the best of what we learned from them while we update the paint so that who we are, who we become, is not just a mimic of those who have come before, but the deepest reflection of the teachings that they planted in us that make us ourselves. Like the Synagogue Project, to restore what is no more is not about what we take out, but about what we put in. It's about what we build and how we live. Who are you holding in your heart right now? What was their calling, their gift, their grace? What were their complexities? And what of it will you consciously choose to lift in your life today? It's no secret that Jamie Lee Curtis had a complex relationship with her father. He and her mother were divorced when she was quite young, and in his final days, in his final marriage to a much younger partner, he wrote all of his children out of his will. But on what would have been his birthday, this past Friday, June 3rd, that's not what Jamie Lee Curtis chose to remember. She posted a photo of her parents with the inscription, "Born this day, Tony Curtis," who then went on to marry Janet Lee, who then bore my sister and me, the circle of life. And now I am a mommy of 2 married daughters. As James Taylor said, the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Midor Lador, different, but the same. The circle goes on and on, a living tribute. How do we restore what is no more? We renew and rebuild today at Yisker and every day. We rise.